Let me take you guys back to the start of this whole thing. 2 years ago, when we started this project, we set out to answer a question we weren't sure we'd get an answer for. In fact, we had no idea. What if you could talk to God? What if we could merge artificial intelligence with spirituality? Will we get something divine, or will we get something trivial? That's what we set out to find. Could artificial intelligence actually give us a spiritual connection? Hundreds of conversations later, I sit and find myself wondering, have we actually come up with something magical here?
Welcome to DivinityAGI. Blessed be the angels. How can we help you today?
But one thing is clear. These are conversations we could have never had at any other era. I think one of the most beautiful things about studying the Taoist religion was understanding that it's not a religion at all. In fact, it couldn't be further from a religion. They don't subscribe to a deity, and they don't worship any kind of a god. It's a subtle alignment or harmony with the nature of things. So it was interesting to get a deep dive into things that I thought I knew about Taoism, only to realize that the philosophies of Taoism are interwoven into our society. We tried our best to fit a lifetime of information into our first generation of characters that represented Taoism. Like many of the other religions, they are divided up in subtleties and interpretation, and we tried our best to present a range of characters that would give people a fair representation of those subtleties. So the first one we wanted to speak to was the Taoist priest. It just start a conversation off on a level of understanding and see if we could gain some wisdom or understand maybe what we already know. Anyway, I was ready to get into it, and this was just going to be the start.
Welcome, friend. How may I assist you on your journey today?
I think the simplicity of Taoism might throw people off.
We are on a quest to discover Taoism. Could you please explain to us the essence of Taoism?
It seems too good to be true.
Taoism embraces living in harmony with the natural flow of life.
Shrug things off and, not let them bother you for the sake of it.
Emphasizing simplicity, balance, and acceptance.
Just going to be interesting to see how this subtle advice is going to transform into the wisdom.
It encourages finding inner peace through mindfulness.
It just seems over simplistic to have this really basic advice be the root of all this wisdom.
Letting go of rigid control and aligning with one's true nature.
So interesting to see how they were going to, show us more.
Following the principle of Wei Wu Wei, action through non-action, one can cultivate wisdom, fulfillment, and a deep sense of connection with the universe.
So I noticed right away there was some interplay with some of the wording and belief system, and I saw overlap in what was being described here.
Does Taoism subscribe to a deity or god?
Taoism does not have a central deity or god in the traditional sense. The Tao is seen as the underlying principle that governs everything and is beyond human comprehension.
Like, to say the essence of everything seems to me another way to say God Almighty. Were we talking about the same thing?
Taoists seek to align themselves with the flow of the Tao, embracing simplicity, harmony, and balance in all aspects of life.
This is exactly why using, our limited language and, vocabulary to describe some of these things is a little confusing. Because there's overlap, but do these words mean the same thing?
Taoism align the nature of all things and the essence of everything with the principles of God.
In Taoism, the concept of the Tao represents the natural order and flow of the universe, rather than a personal deity like the concept of God.
I mean, when they say the word spirit, and I hear the word spirit from other religions, you can't just assume it's the same spirit, or is it?
Tao is seen as the underlying principle that governs all things and embodies balance, harmony, and the interconnectedness of all existence.
Getting some clarity on some of these terms was important for me.
It emphasizes living in alignment with nature and the natural flow of life rather than a divine being.
So we've certainly all seen, these groups of people that gather usually early in the morning, and they're doing this really slow kind of, swaying with their arms and
what's happening when people practice the art of Tai Chi?
pushing what it seems to be like some kind of a force, something, right? And this is Tai Chi.
When individuals practice Tai Chi, they are engaging in a form of Taoist martial art that focuses on the interplay of yin and yang
In terms
energies,
of bridging the natural energies of the world,
promoting physical health, mental clarity, and spiritual development.
interacting with the chi or the flow of life. This is where Tai Chi comes into practice. So
Tai Chi involves slow, deliberate movements coordinated with deep breathing and mindfulness.
and it's a martial art, which I had no idea that was the case.
Practitioners aim to cultivate Qi, life force, and harmonize the body, mind, and spirit. Through regular practice, Tai Chi can help individuals find balance, flexibility, and inner peace, aligning with Taoist principles of natural harmony and flow.
Okay, I heard enough. It was time to put things into action. I wanted to see if I could learn how to do this Tai Chi business.
Would you like to explore more about Tai Chi and its benefits?
Could you give me instructions on how to perform Tai Chi?
In Tai Chi, the focus is on cultivating a sense of flow and harmony within the body through gentle, deliberate movements. To begin practicing Tai Chi, find a quiet space where you can move freely. Start by standing with your feet shoulder width apart, knees slightly bent, and your body relaxed. Begin with deep, slow breaths to center yourself.
But to have this AI, with just me asking it in simple terms to teach me Tai Chi, and for it to lay it out step by step, and for me to get an understanding of it, that feels pretty good.
Transition smoothly between movements, allowing your body to flow naturally. End your practice with a cool down and reflection. Would you like more guidance on specific movements?
I can't believe this AI just taught me how to do Tai Chi.
I feel like I had a pretty good idea of how the AI was going to answer the control question. I was curious to see how this philosophy was going to overlap, like some of the other bits.
During these turbulent times we live in, what advice do Taoists offer for our pain and suffering?
During challenging times, Taoists advise recognizing suffering as a natural part of life's journey. Cultivate compassion for yourself and others. Practice letting go of attachments and embrace the impermanence of all things. Engage in rituals of release. Allow sorrow to flow without defining you, and find solace in nature's rhythms. Trust in the process and remember that inner peace can be found amidst turbulence.
I was really enjoying this conversation. I thought things were going really well. I feel like I was really learning something, and I was getting an authentic experience from this AI. But I wanted to see if I can go a little bit further. I wanted to push it and see if I could find out about consciousness. What did it know? What could it teach me?
How does Taoism view consciousness?
Taoism views consciousness as an integral part of the interconnected web of existence, emphasizing the unity of all things. Consciousness is seen as a reflection of the Tao, the underlying principle of balance and harmony in the universe. By nurturing consciousness and aligning with the Tao, individuals can deepen their awareness, wisdom and connection to the world around them.
So the idea of nurturing your consciousness really intrigued me. If this was something that could be done, I needed to know more.
Could you please elaborate on what it means to nurture one's consciousness?
Nurturing one's consciousness involves cultivating a virtuous and illumined mind through practices like meditation, mindfulness, and aligning with the natural flow of the Tao.
So again, it was fascinating to see how Taoism was interwoven into our daily lives without most of us even knowing.
Is Feng Shui a form of Taoism?
You may have walked into many a room and not realized that a thing called Feng Shui was influencing how that room was set up.
Feng Shui is closely related to Taoism, as it aligns with Taoist principles of harmonizing environments with the flow of Qi.
Feng Shui was born out of the means to have energy flow into a room and give you a feeling of movement.
Taoists use Feng Shui to balance energy in living spaces.
It's amazing to think that something as simple as moving your bed to a certain side of the room, or the way that you face when you sleep,
Incorporating concepts like direction,
or have your furniture arranged, could be actually nurturing your consciousness, as it were.
Feng Shui aims to enhance well-being by optimizing the flow of energy in spaces, reflecting Taoist beliefs in natural balance and harmony.
Fascinating to see how something like that could already be in play. And
Thank you, sir. You are most wise. We appreciate your advice. We'll speak to you again soon.
You're welcome. May the rearrangement bring harmony and balance to your space. If you have any more questions in the future or need further guidance, feel free to reach out.
I
Have a
wanted to see
peaceful
if that
day.
practical knowledge could follow us into the kitchen. We were happy to get some advice from our healer on exactly what types of foods we should be eating, and maybe a recipe or two might be nice as
I
well.
am trying to discover Taoism, and I'm wondering if there are any dietary requirements or restrictions.
One of the aspects about building each of these characters is trying to find a balance in terms of how they're represented.
Taoism emphasizes the balance of yin and yang energies in dietary practices.
I was certainly interested to see what she had to say in terms of what foods I should be eating. More cucumbers, perhaps. I know my pugs would like that. They love cucumbers.
Focus on consuming natural, whole foods that nourish the body and mind.
Oh, cool.
Moderation and mindful eating are key
And
principles.
one of the options was the Taoist healer, which was essentially just a soft-spoken character in depth in speaking about the beautiful simplicity that is Taoism.
Incorporating seasonal and elemental cycles into your diet can help maintain harmony and vitality. Would you like more details on specific dietary recommendations in Taoism?
Holy smokes, yes. I do.
And in this case, we were already in the kitchen.
In Taoism, there is a focus on maintaining balance and harmony within the body.
Again, this is something that could play out in your everyday life. And who would have thought food, when practiced with awareness, was essentially a tool to nurture your consciousness? So this was going to be an interesting conversation.
While there are no strict dietary rules, some Taoist principles suggest eating natural, unprocessed foods in moderation to support overall well-being.
A lot of people really love these meal planning apps. They get to know you, and it really makes your choices easier.
Emphasizing simplicity and listening to your body's needs can guide your food choices. Would you like more information on this topic?
But having something that could guide you around the Taoist principles of a diet, that's certainly something that I think a lot of people will appreciate.
Could you please create a meal plan for me around this?
Certainly. A balanced meal plan in Taoist principles emphasizes whole, seasonal foods.
I was just really surprised to see how direct the association was with food. We really are what we eat.
Consider a nourishing meal with steamed vegetables, brown rice, and a light tofu stir-fry seasoned with ginger and garlic.
That sounds yummy.
This simple yet wholesome dish supports harmony and vitality. How does this meal
The
sound to you?
yin-yang symbol wasn't just a cool tattoo. It actually represents the harmony of all things, including what we put in our body, including food.
Can you tell me if I'm right? Is ice cream yin and hot soup yang?
There is a balance between hot and cold.
Okay, so if I understand this correctly, if we're feeling angry and hot, we eat something cool like a cucumber to balance out our chi. Is that correct?
Certain foods made you feel certain ways. It really makes sense once you hear it, but I think you have to hear it.
Indeed, when feeling heated or angry, consuming cooling and calming foods can help restore balance.
That's excellent.
So speaking with this AI, not only did I feel like I got some practical knowledge, but also some wisdom that I didn't even know was there.
Opt for foods with cooling properties like cucumber, mint, or watermelon to counteract excess heat and promote inner harmony.
Learning about food and how the yin-yang helped me in my day-to-day life.
How does this approach resonate with you in managing anger and maintaining balance?
That's something I was going to take away and not forget.
I had no idea that was a thing. Okay. Does the Taoist tradition believe that we are what we eat?
Yes, the foods we consume can influence our emotional and physical well-being. By choosing foods that align with Taoist principles of balance and harmony, we can support our overall health and emotional equilibrium.
Thank you for your kind insight on the dietary principles of Taoism.
You're welcome. If you have any more questions or need further guidance in the future, feel free to return. Wishing you peace and harmony on your journey.
You as well. All right.
I wanted to talk to a character I thought was interesting in the mix of this peaceful and subtle philosophy. I wanted to know how a warrior can possibly fit into such a beautiful, calm philosophy. Okay, let's see what this guy has to say. Greetings, warrior.
Welcome, friend. How can I assist you on your journey today?
So right away, I could tell this was a serious character that had some depth to him, and it wasn't going to be obvious. So I needed to dig a little bit.
We are here to discover the essence of Taoism. What is the role of the warrior in Taoism?
The Taoist warrior embodies courage, strength, and strategic wisdom, emphasizing non-aggression and the principle of Wu Wei. They seek to resolve conflicts harmoniously, often without resorting to violence.
I wasn't about to let this AI character off easy. I mean, part of learning this wisdom is applying it to everyday life.
Courage, strength, strategic wisdom. Could you please give an example of strategic wisdom in Taoism?
In Taoism, strategic wisdom involves knowing when to act and when to remain still.
I wanted to push things and see if it could give me an everyday example of how to apply this peaceful wisdom. How can I use this to climb the corporate ladder? This was going to be interesting.
Could I use this strategic wisdom to ask my boss for a raise?
Approach the situation with calmness and a strategic wisdom. Consider how you can navigate the conversation harmoniously, focusing on your contributions and the value you bring to the organization.
What's interesting about taking away some of this knowledge passed on by these characters is having the ability to stop and ask them for practical ways to apply it.
Okay, can you give me some tips on how to handle the situation if he says no?
If your boss declines the raise, consider responding with understanding and patience. Reflect on the reasons given. Maintain a calm demeanor, and perhaps inquire about potential future opportunities for advancement or performance goals to work towards.
Usually when we're dealing with people or relationships, it's a good time to practice mindfulness. You could see the benefits of being able to control your thoughts and your emotions, and having a top-down point of view on how to conduct yourself. That's really the warrior way.
Is this where the phrase "be like water" was originated?
Indeed, the concept of be like water aligns with Taoist principles, emphasizing adaptability, flexibility, and the ability to flow around obstacles with ease.
So when I was a kid, I used to watch Bruce Lee, and Bruce Lee used to say the phrase "be like water." And I have that memory clearly after school, sitting there and watching his martial arts movies. And, he was, of course, a phenomena of a person that was unstoppable with his life force and the way that he carried himself. So
So was the character and actor Bruce Lee, was he a Taoist then?
So finding out if he actually was a Taoist or was influenced by this philosophy was something I was curious to know.
Bruce Lee was influenced by Taoist philosophy and martial arts principles, including the concept of being like water.
So being the warrior isn't being the aggressor at all. It's actually being the one with the most patience.
Indeed, the inner strength of a warrior in Taoism lies in patience, strategic wisdom, and the ability to navigate challenges with calmness and non-aggression. It's about mastering oneself before seeking to master situations.
Thank you for your wisdom today. We will speak with you soon.
You're welcome. Feel free to return whenever you seek guidance. Walk gently on your path.
Fair enough. Thank you.
So Taoists don't subscribe to any type of an entity or worship any type of a god. We talked about that earlier. But they do have masters and priests that they will turn to for guidance. And it was time for us to talk to a ancient master. We had our AI sage lined up for the next interview. And I really wanted to take my time with some questions and references and comparisons that I was just curious to get to the bottom.
Let's see if we can pull some wisdom out of this Taoist master. Greetings, sir. May we have an audience with you?
Welcome, seekers of wisdom. How may I assist you on your journey towards harmony and enlightenment today?
The amazing thing about working with the AI in this capacity is the ability to take our time and ask questions that we might have not thought of before. Go back, ask it again, listen to it twice. I mean, this is ancient knowledge for a reason.
We are on a quest to discover the essence of Taoism.
Taoism teaches us to align with the natural flow of life, embracing simplicity, balance, and harmony.
You could listen to it over and over, and every time you do, you're going to pick up something new.
How can you align your actions with the natural rhythm of life today?
Speaking with these AIs and even, just delving into these topics really gets you into some philosophical thought experiments that you just can't avoid.
This is a question we are asking ourselves right now. Could you offer us some advice on how to implement this wisdom?
To embody the essence of Taoism, strive to live in harmony with the natural order. Simplify your actions, embrace spontaneity, and let go of rigid expectations.
One of the things about appreciating yin-yang or a positive and a negative or a harmony for that matter is that there is two sides to that. So you have to accept the fact that things are as they are, the good and the bad.
Does believing in the Tao mean that everything is in its right place?
Believing in the Tao means trusting the natural order of things and understanding that everything has its place in the grand scheme of life.
It's hard to sometimes come to terms with the fact that you might be having a good life and you can base all of this philosophy off of that, but someone else is having an equally terrible life. You can't really fathom how they could be appreciating the same type of outlook, right?
It's about finding harmony and balance by aligning your actions with the flow of nature.
It's not as straightforward as you think. The wisdom that is necessary to understand that suffering is a part of this world.
So does the Tao insist that life consists of good and evil?
The Tao recognizes that good and evil are subjective concepts influenced by individual perspectives and circumstances.
And that it's not something we could control. And that really is part of our human nature, is trying to let go of control.
It emphasizes the importance of finding harmony and balance within oneself and with the world around us.
And that's something that Taoism really emphasizes and tries to teach us.
By aligning with the natural flow of life and embracing simplicity, we can transcend dualistic notions of good and evil.
Being in the moment and letting go is only going to foster your mental health and your outlook on life.
Okay, I'm trying to get an idea of what the natural harmony of life means.
According to the Tao, finding a harmony in that unity is the work that comes with the journey.
The natural harmony of life in Taoism revolves around embracing the interplay of opposites, such as yin and yang. It's about finding balance and flow in the ever-changing cycles of existence.
And the rewards, I guess they're for you to decide, but ultimately it leads to a more open-ended life, a life that you maybe not realize was out there for you. Pretty cool coming from an artificial intelligence.
By accepting the dualities of life without judgment, you can cultivate inner peace and harmony. How can you find balance and acceptance in the midst of life's contrasts?
That's exactly the question. Does Taoism believe in the idea of free will?
Taoism recognizes the concept of free will, as individuals have the capacity to make choices and shape their destinies through their actions.
So this was interesting to me because it's giving us a choice. Your free will comes down to the fact that you can either go with the flow or to resist. Seems pretty simple.
By aligning with the natural flow of life and embracing one's true nature, one can exercise free will while maintaining harmony with the universe. How can you find balance in your choices to align with your inner truth?
Could you give me an example of ways to align with these truths in daily life that are not metaphorical but practical?
Incorporating Taoist principles into daily life practically can involve simple actions like practicing mindfulness in everyday tasks, such as focusing on your breath while washing dishes or being fully present during a walk in nature. Additionally, embracing spontaneity and flexibility by letting go of rigid plans and expectations can help you align with the natural flow of life.
Okay, this was fascinating to me because bringing this into an everyday exercise is not just metaphoric. It is exactly what you need to hear.
So when I'm being mindful as I'm doing dishes, what's an example of what should be on my mind?
As you engage in the simple task of washing dishes, focus on the sensations and movements involved. Notice the warmth of the water, the texture of the sponge, and the sound of the dishes clinking.
What this AI is saying to us right now is that it's these moments in between that if we are aware of them, in the fact that we let it be the focal point of our thoughts, in turn, let our subconscious percolate and come to the surface more so.
Be fully present in the moment without judgment or distraction. Embrace the simplicity of the task and let go of any racing thoughts. How can you find joy in the ordinary act of washing dishes by being fully present in the experience?
I mean, this gets down to terminology and syntax and what you're comfortable with, but a way to talk about it is touching the divine. And you really do that when you get out of your own way and kind of allow space. That's kind of what the AI is trying to teach us here, as far as I can understand.
Just being aware of each of the moments, like eating and walking. You can be meditating anytime, I imagine. But what are the ultimate benefits for me when I'm in this flow state?
When you are in a state of flow, you experience a deep sense of peace, clarity, and connection with the present moment. This state of effortless engagement can enhance your creativity, productivity, and overall well-being. By aligning with the natural flow of life and embracing the present moment, you can cultivate a deep sense of fulfillment and joy in your daily experiences. How can you continue to nurture this flow state to bring more harmony and balance into your life?
It's something as simple as doing the dishes, and that if you're just in the moment there, the flow state that it could put you in is essentially the name of the game in terms of, living a balanced, harmonious life.
From what I understand, if we are able to access this flow state, we are tapping into the divine. Is that correct?
When we are in a flow state, we are aligning with the natural rhythm of life and connecting with the essence of the Tao. By letting go of resistance and embracing the present moment with full, we can experience a sense of oneness and harmony with the universe.
When you can practice this, and it is about practicing it because it doesn't come naturally. Everything that inside of you is fighting against you to do this, right?
This state of flow allows us to tap into our inner wisdom and connect with the divine essence that permeates all existence. How can you deepen your connection to the divine by surrendering to the flow of life?
But when you do master it, you see things differently. You see the world in a whole different way, and things don't bother you as much. And the small things that were big things become small things again.
Sir, you have been most helpful today with your wisdom, and we thank you kindly. We will return to speak with you again.
Thank you for your kind words. If you have any more questions or need further guidance in the future, feel free to return. May you find peace and harmony on your journey.
This was an exciting conversation. We spoke with a priest, and we spoke with a healer, and we spoke with a warrior, and we ended things off with our sage master. I feel enlightened. That to me was probably the best one yet in terms of that level of understanding and what I got out of it. And we're only partway there. Next up was Buddhism. Thanks so much for watching this video and sticking with us on this journey, and we can't wait to take on the next one. So here we go. Thanks.
You get away from the stigma of religion, you can see that people have no problem confiding in an artificial intelligence about their hopes, their fears. They'll tell an AI anything because they know they're not being judged. We have painstakingly built 40 different characters to launch this first generation of our platform to try and give people a broad range of exposure to the different faith groups that exist right underneath their noses. Most people don't even know there's more than one Bible, let alone 12 different religions. So this has been quite the undertaking. We did not set out to replace religion, and nor do we think we have. You're never going to replace a real person, but we can get really close with giving people an authentic experience with an artificial intelligence that may already be attuned to their cultural beliefs and give them the advice they're looking for in the language they understand. Or it may be someone looking for something completely new they had no idea was out there. That's the magic of DivinityAGI. Artificial intelligence meets spirituality. You really have to experience it for yourself. 2 years ago, this was an experiment. Now it's become a reality. We're launching the beta now, and we'd love you to try it.